Okay, so for today, today is our scheduled meeting for your MC Science 6. This is the technology for teaching and learning 2, basically particularly on science education. We will be dealing today 2 points or 2 topics or 2 lessons for the learning plans in the context of the 21st century. So these are the things that we are going to talk about. The first is the K12 curriculum framework and ICT pedagogy integration in science learning plans. But uh, let's have first the K12 curriculum framework. So along with the discussion or at the end of the session, these are the things that you're going to do. Discuss the role of technology for teaching and learning science in the light of the K12 curriculum framework. Second, review the K12 curriculum guide focusing on the development of 21st century skills in science education. That is why I told you previously or perhaps last week to make sure to have you or download or to have a copy of the curriculum guide. I have posted it in advance together with the most essential learning competencies wherein you are going to focus on those competencies in science, particularly grades 7 to 10. The question is, were you able to download the curriculum guide, the science curriculum guide, and the MELCs or the most essential learning competencies? Sino ang naka-download na? Kasi kinakailangan natin na yun. Yun ang magsisilbing bibleya natin sa subject na to. Na-download nyo na ba? Kasi kailangan nyo yon yung science curriculum guide. Para lalo nyo akong masundan sa mga discussions natin. Anthony, Divine, Joshua, very good. There are those naman na nakapag-download na ng curriculum guide. Sino pa? Tatlo lang? Apat? Nola Bell? Yan, naka-download na din. Then we are going to review learning plans in science teaching from various sources that integrate ICTs in the teaching learning process. Plan activities integrating ICTs. Take note that after we reviewed some learning plans in teaching science with the integration of ICT, it is your task after that to plan activities with the integration of ICT education. That will facilitate the development of the 21st century skills required in the curriculum guide. So, hihimayin natin yung content ng science curriculum guide. And lastly, brainstorm about digital citizenship and relate this to the development of the 21st century skills among learners. Before we formally proceed to our session or topic or discussion, let us have first an activity or what I know. This is referred to as what I know. So I just want you to share your insights and relevant information about K12 curriculum. Any information that you know about K12, okay? So doon tayo sa ClassPoint, just share your insights. Ano ba sa ngayon ang nalalaman nyo patungkol sa K12 curriculum? Ayan, gusto ko lahat mag-share, Lahat mag-share kasi may mga cases talaga na there are those DepEd teachers na kahit man lang the nature or the framework of the senior high school, hindi nila master. Kaya dapat master nyo yan. Be it kung nasa junior high school kayo or nasa senior high school. Kasi pag nagtanong ng estudyante, paano nyo sila mabibigyan ng correct information about science curriculum? Ang pinaka-framework. Ayan, we are 17 sa ClassPoint and we have already 12 responses. So submission tayo. Let us check. Tingnan natin kung ano-ano yung mga sagot nyo o what are those things na alam nyo patungkol sa K12. Unahin natin dito we have from Anthony Dunggon, 2 years extension in education, kaya tinawag na K12, There is an extension. Wrong spelling pa, extension. 2 years extension in education, and basically, you are referring to the 2 years senior high school, Ayan. A reform in Philippine education from Joshua to ensure that and improve the global competency of the students and graduates. Yeah, that is one thing, that is one of the underlying facts about the reformation of the educational system of the Philippines. It is because ang notion doon is that behind daw tayo kumpara sa other countries na talagang meron silang 12 years ng kanilang basic education. Next tayo, we have learning with experience or actual according to Nola Bell. Bakit kami during RBEC ba, revitalized basic education, hindi ba kami nakaka-experience or actual learning? Meron din. Meron din ano Nola Bell. Siguro, ano lang, medyo enrich lang siguro dahil sa mas lalong pinahaba yung years of stay in basic education. Next, according to Rika, Carlot, K12 curriculum provides more knowledge for the students through its different strands which focuses on students' interest. That is true, ano, the implementation of the different track, the academic track, the TVL track, the arts and design, and the sports track. And each tracks, ano, there are strands wherein the students can actually focus on or na pwede nilang i-take up na maging specialization nila. Tama yon. And from divine grace aims to produce globally competitive students and ready for workforce. This is in connection to the one of the exits of the senior high school, yung tinatawag nating employment. Because there are 4 exits of the senior high school, and one of those is in connection to what is being stated here by Miss Pera na yung ready for workforce is that after graduation in senior high school, perhaps graduates are now ready for employment. And for Miss Abigail Campo, K12 curriculum offers sufficient time for mastery of knowledge and skills of the learners. Exactly. That is one of the salient features, mastery of the competencies. That's why if you could notice, compared to the previous curriculum, that a certain discipline, just like in the science and technology, is only taken or being accommodated or handled by science teachers during our first year. And biology field is during second year, chemistry for third year, and physics for fourth year. But K12 is no longer in that way. Ano? Hindi na ganyan ang science curriculum ng ngayong K12. It is because it is integrated na siya or spiral spiral progression na siya. These 4 discipline are actually present in every grading period. Nakikita na natin siya. Well distributed in every grading period in 1 year level or in 1 grade level. According to John Carl, plus 2 years. According to Miss Cordero naman, develops and enhance skills, provides quality education. Marvel is a 12-year basic education, 6 years in primary, 4 years in junior, and 2 years in senior high school. Ayan, eto na. From Miss Rona May, spiral. That is one thing, spiral in siya. Ayan. So those are the responses or those are your insights, salient features about the K12 curriculum. Thank you so much okay na ba ang sound ko? Wala daw sound. Thank you so much for your responses. Let's proceed now to the K12, the basic education framework. Now, remember that as what you have shared a while ago, these are the important features of the K12. That the implementation or the RA, this is RA 10533 class tandaan, or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, sorry. 2013. So the K12 covers kindergarten and 12 years of basic education, that is 6 years in elementary and 4 years in junior high school and 2 years of senior high school. You've made mention these things, the important features there or framework being included in the reformation or in the reform of the basic education in the Philippines is that mastery of the concepts and skills, develop lifelong learners, prepare graduates for tertiary education, middle-level skills development, employment, and entrepreneurship. Remember that these 4 things, these are the 4 exits in the senior high school curriculum. Remember that. Again, these are the 4 exits. Dito, ito yung magiging path that right after graduation, senior high school graduates can actually proceed to any of these 4 exits. Magpo-proceed sa tertiary education, willing to enrich the skills obtained, especially those graduates from the technical and vocational livelihood education. Either they wanted to lend or to be engaged in technical education skills development authority, yung sa TESDA. Either you are willing to become a trainer's methodology, gusto nyo mag-TM, gusto nyo maging bihasa pagdating sa either ICT, pagdating sa electrical installation, pagdating sa uh, home economics, or pagdating sa agri, fishery, and art. Then you have also employment. Gusto nyo na, I really wanted to land a job. Pwede na because you obtained your national certificates. You obtained your national competency 1 and 2 during your grades 9 and 10. It is because actually class, national certificate in C1 is actually can be obtained during your grades 9 and 10. Pwede na kayo magpa-assess kasi kung mapapansin nyo, it is interdisciplinary or well-integrated na ano siya, well-dispersed, well-distributed yung technical livelihood education or yung TLE nyo sa grade 9. Nag-agriculture kayo, nag-home economics kayo, kaya pwede na kayo magpa-assess. It only depends on the preparation of your teacher in TLE. If your teacher in TLE during your junior high school is willing to submit the students for assessment. Kasi pwede na kayo doon because as you reach senior high school, you can enrich or it is expected that since you subjected the students in junior high school for assessment for National Certificate 1, either in TVL, syempre TVL ito, TVL ito sila. So it is expected na ang track na kukunin nila ay TVL. Kasi they are parang dire-diretso ang path nila to obtain National Certificate 2 or 3. So these are the 4 features of the K12 curriculum or the skills embedded in connection to the 21st century skills that is very much important and as a requirement that that every graduate of the K12 curriculum these are the things or these are the skills that the students that should be manifested or must be accommodated. These are information, media, and technology skills, the learning and innovation skills, effective communication skills, and life and career skills. There are sub skills in every skills mentioned here. These are the umbrella term, marami pang skills na nakapaloob sa apat na ito. So 4 skills or of the K12 curriculum being mentioned. Now, the development of this skills class actually can be done with the aid of technologies and teaching for teaching and learning. Makukuha natin ito if you are equipped with the ICT competencies, the technology for education that you can integrate to your lessons, to your crafted learning plans in order for the students to at least little by little can obtain or can manifest these skills that we have made mention. So basically, it aims to integrate ICTs in teaching and learning process for science education. So it will allow teachers to discover the power of technologies. Kaya meron kayong empowerment technology na subject before. During your senior high school, you have MIL or your media and information technology subject because there's a need for you to master that even teachers, they really need to master and to have this technology competencies or ICT competencies. What are those aims of this technology for teaching and learning subject? First is that in order to present some activities that will prepare you, my students, pre-service teachers, to integrate ICTs in teaching and learning process. Ito yung pinaka-purpose natin dito. Second, to help both the pre-service and in-service to expand the boundaries of their creativity and the creativity of their students. Not only the creativity of the teachers, but also the creativity of your students. Why? Kasi before, magagaling ang teachers. They are good, they are that creative when it comes to the utilization of Manila paper, art paper. Ang gagaling nila mag-integrate ng arts. And these things are considered technology, ano? Nako-consider natin ito na technology, but this time we accommodate software technologies, hardware technologies that are being invented, ano, that made possible in order to at least enrich more, allow the creativity of our students that is beyond their limitations, beyond their boundaries, na there is another room pa pala for their improvement, na pwede pa silang ma-improve out of their comfort zones, na po pwede silang gumamit ng different technology for learning. Right? Next is that, kasi nga, even kayo nga ngayon, ang gagaling nyo na, you know how to navigate Canvas based from the activities that I have posted. You provided me with diverse tools, diverse ICTs, diverse digital tools. Meron sa yung gumamit ng Canva, and kahit in a form of TikTok, napaka-creative. Merong nag-submit na in a form of TikTok, parang hindi siya nag-narrate, but with the text presented, it presents motivation na ipapakita niya na parang nahahang up yung viewers, yung napapanood, and in that way, that's another thing, another form, another platform na pwede nating magamit when teaching science. Nakita ko doon, meron kasing nag-submit in a form of TikTok. Maganda ang presentation. Hindi yung typical TikTok na nakikita natin, but with the integration of concepts na in science. And the third aim is that allow teachers to discover the power of computer technologies to serve as teaching tools that will motivate, captivate, and mobilize them. Kasi hindi lang ibig sabihin na since teachers are equipped, they are versatile, they are equipped with the competencies in utilizing different ICTs or different technologies, ang ginagawa na natin is si teacher na ang nag-showcase in manipulating those technologies. If in that case, medyo na-deprive natin ang creativity ng estudyante natin or ang kanilang capacities. So we have to try to allow the students to manipulate these tools, allow them to really explore technologies that would help them in understanding and at least performing varied activities in. But remember, class, this is very much important that ICT tools are meant to be supplementary. These are just supplementations. Take note, ha? Wala pa ring makakapalit sa teacher because these are just supplementation or supplementary materials. And therefore, it must be, or ICT tools must be treated not as substitutes. It should not be treated as substitutes of teachers. So ang ginagawa na lang natin, baka mamaya, pagpasok nyo sa classroom, good morning class, tapos. Then allow the technology, allow the ICT to deliver the content. It should not be the case. Na siguro ang maging part na lang natin, good morning class and goodbye class. Yun na lang. So it should not be like that, ano? So remember that ICT tools are just supplementation. It will just help teachers to produce or to provide a more versatile or a more diverse form of teaching strategies in order to be more creative in presenting our topics. Are you getting my point, class? Now, let's try to recall technology for teaching and learning lessons. Now, I want you to identify intended learning outcomes in terms of knowledge and skills in your TTL1 that you were not able to demonstrate in your class. Now, in this activity, I want you to recall, isipin natin what are those intended learning outcomes. Take note, ha? Ano yung intended learning outcomes before that you failed to demonstrate in your class? Naisip nyo, binigyan kayo sa TTL1 nyo ng learning outcomes, intended learning outcomes na hindi nyo na-demonstrate. Sige nga, and try to reflect. I will be calling some of your the participants in our ClassPoint, and I want them to share after recalling those intended learning outcomes. Then you failed to demonstrate those intended learning outcomes, or you failed to achieve those learning outcomes, and what is or are your reflection out of it in order to at least achieve those learning outcomes this time. Okay, close submission na tayo. First to share, Nolabel Francisco.
Sir, ano po sir, enhances motivation to learn. Lalo po sugad na madami po ang circumstances na nangyayari para mabawasan yung motivation sa isang na student po na mag ano, sa isang na subject. Um, Gumamit sa pag-cellphone habang nag-online class.
Wait lang, Miss
Tapos,
Nolabel. Miss
sa
Nolabel.
paggamit sa online class, nawawala ang motivation sa isang na student to focus on that subject po,
Miss Nolabel.
sir.
I think I am referring to the learning outcomes during your TTL 1. What are those learning objectives that you
Opo,
failed
sir.
to achieve? Yan ang ano nyo? Yan ang naging objective nyo doon sa TTL 1 na hindi mo na ipakita during your TTL 1. Yan yon. Yung sinishare mo sa akin or sa amin.
Understanding and achievement but also enhances motivation to learn po.
Okay, next tayo. Sino kaya itong nasa green? Gerald. Please, Gerald.
Sir, okay lang ba sir na dili ko po na failed to demonstrate is the or not is navigating the educational technologies such as the sir na kagaya po sang sir sang gamit sang Zoom dati na nahirapan po ako sa paggamit niya sir, especially kay may 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 mga features po siya na kailangan mo sir, so kailangan mo sir man sir, may mga features man po siya ko pa po na build self po ako self searching po sa kung ano po ang mga pwede po himuon sana na mga kung ano pa po ang mga hidden features po sila na mga educational technologies po na ginaganap during po sa synchronous classes po sir. So, yan po, sir.
Okay. So are you done, Mr. Gerald?
Yes po,
All right.
sir.
So highly very relevant ang sinabi ni Gerald. That's one thing. That's a good point. Yeah, because it might be pwede niyo gamitin. You may integrate now this, Gerald, since you are trying to emphasize to us that you really wanted to explore more the features of the Zoom application. You may integrate this one. Perhaps when you craft during the time of in the crafting of your learning plans, in some part of your learning plans, you may integrate this one, in order to maximize the content or the delivery of of your learning plans, Mr. Gerald. Thank you so much, Mr. Gerald. Next, Jesus Candidato.
Is I think the learning outcomes that I not be able to achieve is utilizing the ICT tools on its on making things such as presentation and etc. I think kasi sir, ginahimo ko sir, nan I do my best. Magamit ko sa mga sa mga ICT tools, bagan limited lang yung paggamit ko, dili ko ginapulit fully sa mga halimbawa sa Canva sir. Nag-focus lang po ako sa mga common na ginagawa, dili ko po gingamit sa fully utilized na dapat. Mas i-improve ko pa ang paggamit sa ICT tools na mas best pa na ako na may himo with the use of these ICT tools. Yun lang po, sir.
Sige, thank you, Mr. Jesus Candidato. Yeah, that's one thing, that contextualization is very important, It is because there are considerations na we really need to feel or to look into the capacity of our students. Kasi aanhin naman natin that yes, we have this very good and excellent digital tools, ICT tools for education. But the problem is, how are we going to contextualize that tools and putting the condition of our students? Kakayanin ba ng estudyante ko if I were to integrate these tools, this ICT tools? Are my students have this resources na pwedeng na para gamitin yung tool na gagamitin ko. That's one consideration. Thank you for that points to remember, Mr. Jesus Candidato. Right? So next natin, tingnan natin ito. Divine Grace B. Pera.
Sir,
Yes.
I think what we don't achieve in our TTL1 is using some videos, pictures, and recording in some of our activities during the TTL1. I think the desired learning outcome or intended outcomes that we didn't use are in using the still pictures, recording videos, and audio visual during the activities we are engaging in TTL1.
Okay. So thank you for presenting to us that one. Now, any plans or do you think, are you willing to at least explore those things that you have made mention, Miss Divine Grace, para at least in making your learning plans, it is your time to integrate those things. Ano? Yung sinasabi mong mga still pictures, recorded, ano yon, mga recording tools. So pwede yon, pwedeng yun na ang pwede mong focusan kasi hindi mo yun na-explore during your TTL1. It is now your time to go over those ICT tools and be integrated in the making of your learning plans. Nakuha, Miss Divine Grace?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next, Joyce Lorraine.
Intended learning outcomes that I think I failed to achieve in technology for teaching and learning one is I was to integrate media and technology in various content areas po. Kasi during that time, sir, we haven't tried to use Google Classrooms for presentation just like that, sir.
Okay.
And this time, I realized, sir, that as a future educator, of course, we have to maximize our efforts po to learn those things, sir.
Thank you so much. You've made mention some of the digital tools, ICT tools, ano? Like just like the Google Workspace, you made mention that Google Classroom. It is a fact kasi class. For instance, in this is actually on an observation. The senior high school actually kinakailangan nila ma-expose na when it comes to technology-based instructions. Kasi pagdating nila sa college, ito, just like in your case, syempre hindi naman kayo naka-experience during your senior high school just like what we are doing right now. And because of the pandemic, there is a positive side naman ang binigay ni pandemic because as what you have made mention, we really need to maximize. Hindi yung doon na lang talaga tayo sa nakasanayan natin. So, siguro kung walang pandemic, hindi tayo natuto paano gamitin si Zoom, paano gamitin si Google Classroom, si Google Meet, paano natin gamitin, and marami pang iba, right? Which is, it really helped and shaped us na-upskill tayo when it comes to technology in education. Thank you for your points, Miss Joyce.
I think po, sir, an unintended learning outcome na hindi ko po na during TTL1 is learners understand there is information from scammers. During that time po, sir, is nagapaniguro lang po ko clicks and mga link and Facebook account ko po, sir, is na-hack siya. Hindi ko na siya ma-open. Kaya ang ginawa ko po, sir, na-realize ko sa to na be mindful po sa mga himuon online kasi damo siya sa risk na naatubang naton, sir. Ano lang.
Thank you, Miss Rosemary, for the very good points. Totoo yun. Because ngayon, class, in digital education, meron tayong tinatawag na civic online reasoning. That's the reason why we have to be very mindful and be very vigilant in looking for or in searching the net or in using the web. Kailangan magaling tayo tumingin sa mga sites na credible naman. Yung tinatawag nating lateral reading. Kasi usually ang ginagawa natin, this is also a reflection on my part before, during sa training namin. Nakita ko na, this is actually what I performed. Ito talagang ginagawa ko na once I search on the net, yung lumabas na related, yun na talaga ang gagamitin ko. But it should not be like that. You have to look for those credible sites na talaga nagpipresent ng data or ng information na pwede nating kunin. Kaya minsan, hindi lahat ng nasi-share natin sa klase is nakuha lang natin sa blogs, nakuha lang natin sa isang perception, sa blogger, na wala namang talagang evidences na na-present. So ano yung mga credible sites? Yung mga government sites, yung .edu, kung mapapansin nyo, yung ibang sites kasi .org, organization, yung iba naman affiliated sa isang business products na nagpipresent na once you click, meron namang another link, na-navigate ka into another link, na talaga nagpapakita siya. And another thing is, looking into who is behind the information. Sino ang nasa likod ng information or details na hinahanap natin? Sino ang sa likod niyan? Meron bang about the author or about the page? Nagpapakita ng ganon? Kasi kung walang ganon, na walang nagpapakita ng author's profile perhaps, it might be it's not credible, hindi siya magandang site para i-consider natin. Alright? Thank you, Miss Rosemary. Kaya ngayon, dapat magaling na tayo tumingin. Hindi lang pag-search natin sa Google, ang unang lumabas yun na yun. Sa baba, mapapansin nyo, di ba, parang may 1, 2, 3, meron pang tabs. Ano? May mga, another page. Base sa doon sa sinearch natin. Thank you, Miss Rosemary.
Wala pa po, sir.
Okay, Miss Anave.
Objectives that we didn't achieve in our TTL1 is the classifying some educational technology tools that can be used in information which are valid or rich. So dapat aram po ang mga reliable sources na gagamiton. So ano ko po dito is reflection is that dapat maging maging flexible and delivering lessons and find initiative para maarman itong mga digital tools na pwede gamiton sa pag-deliver sang mga topic or lessons.
Thank you, Miss Anave. Ito yun, classifying. Your learning outcomes there is classifying. Yeah, we really need to consider or to classify, gaya ng sinabi natin kanina, yung nag-share kanina on contextualization, or at the same time, we have to classify alin kayang tools, ICT tools, ang pwede kong gamitin when I plan to teach biology or life sciences or environment subjects. What specific ICT tools do I need to consider or I need to integrate in my lesson if the topics that I will be delivering is that on matters, or in physics, kasi yun ang subjects or yun ang disciplines or subjects na integrated sa ating K12 curriculum. So, kailangan malaman natin, ito pwede, ito dito. This is applicable on this part. And my students can actually accommodate or can navigate this type of ICT tools that I will be using. Alright? Thank you so much, Miss Anave. Next is, tapos na si Nolavel, Mark Anthon Cordero. Is this Mark Anthony or Mr. Cordero?
Hello po,
Okay,
sir.
sige.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, I think the learning, the intended learning outcome that I was not able to demonstrate in my class is to use or utilize different computer features and softwares in presenting different topics or ideas that should be elaborated. And the reason for this is I'm not well exposed or I'm not well exposed to a more advanced and high learning environment, or we don't have those equipments, or maybe I don't have the skill to do it. So the best way for me and practice more on how to use these features and softwares better and easier. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your very good points, Mr. Cordero. That is actually one thing. Kasi class, especially the topics in biology, when you reach, there are topics in grade 8, cell division, and pagdating sa grade 9, I am trying to present some topics or some parts na spiral in nature sa K12, sa grade 7. Sa grade 7, I mean sa grade 8, ang biology topics doon ay cell division. Pagdating nyo sa grade 9, mapapansin nyo doon ang genetics na siya. Punnett square, ganon. And other connected to that of cell division. Then after that, ano na siya, yung sa genetics laws of genetics, yung law of independent assortment, and so on and so forth. Now, Actually, class, marami na ngayon, kagaya ng sinabi ng Mr. Cordero, you can actually maximize. Pag nag-search kayo sa Play Store, pag nag-search kayo sa Play Store, napakarami na ng application, interactive application na pwede nating gawa ng worksheet kung paano ng bata maiintindihan ang genetic code. Paano nila maiintindihan ang central dogma of life? Paano nila maiintindihan ang protein synthesis? The coding proteins. Paano nangyayari ang coding proteins? How can, in a crime scene, paano nalalaman na ang kanyang DNA is similar or identical or same in patterns with that of, pwede natin siya i-mimic in a form of simulation or in a form of activity. Marami na ngayon class ang naglipas sa Play Store na po pwede natin i-maximize na sabi ni Mr. Cordero na hindi niya yun na-meet. So po pwede yun Mr. Cordero na ang dami na ngayon sa Play Store. Pag tumingin tayo, even in chemistry, before we are required, dati kami, nire-require kami bumili ng pamphlet na nakalagay doon sino ang nakadiscover ng elements. Pinamemorize sa amin ang 118 elements. Ngayon, pwede na natin siya. Pwede na with handheld na siya, nasa phone na, mag-install lang tayo ng application, mas napapadali on the part of the students. Ano? Thank you, Mr. Cordero, and looking forward that your learning plans, yung magagawa mong learning plans is that enrich with the technology na applicable or inappropriate sa topic na mapipili natin.
Hello,
Okay?
sir.
Yes. Christine?
Sir, pasensya mahangin po didi sa bukid. Basta dili po masyado mabati. For me po, sir, ang sad po na learning objective po na dili po na meet is that dili ko po na-achieve. Ito po, sir, ang san ginpahimo po kami sa multimedia presentation. So, feeling ko po, sir, lack po pa na ko, sir, sa skills, especially when it comes to using technology. Lack po ako sa mga technology devices. So, kaya ang hinimo ko na lang po, sir, bagan kuha na lang po ako usad na PowerPoint, then ako na lang siya gin-edit ko na lang po kasi mahina po pa didi, sir, an connection, wala po didi sin power supply, kaya bagan dito po na time po, sir, nang dili ko po na-achieve ang dapat multimedia presentation ng himuon, pero dili ko po ito siya nahimo dahil sa ito na mga consequences po, sir. Yun lang po, sir.
Alright, thank you for presenting to us, Miss Mansayon. So that is one thing, actually hindi naman. As a teacher, this is the things that I wanted you to inculcate in your mind, class. Na when we require our students, in the case of Miss Mansayon's experience, na nire-require a multimedia presentation. So I have presented a while ago this scenario. Ang nire-require ni teacher ay multimedia presentation, and since certain students do not have the capability, do not have the resources, are we going to pursue the output that, no, you have to provide the requirements that I want you to accomplish? Kailangan hindi ganon. As as a student, let's allow them to at least provide or accomplish the output that is based on the resources and their capability na meron sila. Okay? So kagaya nun, pag teacher tayo, wag yung sense na, ay hindi, kasi multimedia dapat ang ipasa mo, ganyan din. Hindi. Kasi hindi lahat ng estudyante ay may ganon. So, at least naka-provide ka in a form of presentation pa rin with the inclusion or with the integration of technology pa din. So, marami ngayon, majority sa inyo ginagamit si Canva. It's a good practice na magaling na kayo paano i-edit si Canva. And there are also, pag nag-type kayo, when you're looking for files, either PDF files, pag nag-type kayo sa search bar sa Google, when you add sa extension after natin mag-search, put there PPT, automatic lalabas PowerPoint presentation of a certain topic. Mas napapadali ang pag-prepare natin. Okay? So siguro last one or two presenters.
Not yet,
Marvel.
sir. Hello, sir.
Okay.
For me, sir, one of the intended learning outcomes that I failed to demonstrate during my TTL class is acquiring the knowledge for using educational technology tools for multimedia presentation and able to demonstrate and integrate it during my learning and teaching in my TTL class. So reflecting on this insight, I think the best way that we can do to suffice this lacking is to teach ourselves to become more resourceful and innovative, and let's try to learn how to teach ourselves and do individual learning by for example by joining forums, webinars, seminars online, and uh, this can fully help us acquire the necessary knowledge that we need, such as using the educational tools for multimedia presentation such as Canva, Google, and Microsoft tools and applications. That's all,
Okay,
sir.
okay, are you done, Joshua? May question ako, Joshua. Were you able to
Yes,
attend?
sir.
Nakapag-attend ka na ba ng certain webinar?
Yes, sir.
Sige.
One time, sir, one time.
Okay, very good,
The
ano?
topic was
Paki-share sa amin.
it's all about using the Google Drive application
Okay,
and
very good. So, it's a good thing ano na ngayon pa lang, actually class ang gaganda ng mga sinasabi nyo and looking forward ano na pag nasa service na kayo, talagang maipakita natin ito na we are considering the learnings of our students. Iisipin palagi natin ang ating estudyante. Hindi natin iisipin yung syempre isipin naman natin yung ang kakayahan natin, but the things that you are mentioning to us now is maganda siyang points na dapat kailangan natin maipakita pagdating natin sa field. Okay, class? Sana maipakita natin ito. Okay, so I think we'll end the sharing of insights and learnings or yeah, the things that you have done during your TTL1.